You're looking at one of the most lavish Christmas lights displays in the world. 80,000 lights and 15 kilometres of cables adorn a building 18 metres wide by 9 metres high. A building that until recently existed only as a graphic image produced by a Korean advertising agency for a series of TV commercials. This set was built in just 4 days on a field in Yangpyeong, 90 minutes from Seoul, South Korea. In May 2011, the creative director from advertising agency Joe Creative met with her client, Paris Baguette, a chain of 1,700 Korean cafes, to suggest a TV campaign featuring a synchronised Christmas light display. In September, they invited Perth entrepreneur Kym Illman to join the project.
키밀맨이라는 사람이 호주에서 뭔가 한 게 굉장히 판타스틱하고 좀 굉장히 아름답고 그리고 굉장히 소소한 그런 재미 요소들이 많은 것들을 인터넷에서 보고 이 사람의 컨택을 한번 해야겠다.
When I first heard from the production people, I thought this is too good to be true. They wanted me to be a lighting director on a $600,000 TV commercial shoot to be shot in Korea.
In September, Kym met with the production team in Shanghai to discuss schedules and production details. Kym then provided the team with instructions on how to produce the various lighting elements in the show. And Mr. Lee, the Korean lighting company owner, set about manufacturing and producing the various lighting elements that would be featured in the show. In early October, Kym received the 3-minute soundtrack recorded by popular Korean punk band No Brain.
It's an extremely complex piece of music, but ideal for synchronising lights too. It goes from innocent and serene to wild and punchy, and the initial programming took me about 40 hours using software from American lighting supplier Lightorama. The initial lighting sequence had more than 350 channels of individually controllable lighting. Now, to give you an idea, each arch has 8 channels of light. So I programmed section 1 to come on for 1/8 of a beat, then section 2 to come on for 1/8 of a beat, while section 1 fades, and so on.
It's laborious and at times frustrating work, but the end product would be a true work of art and provide riveting viewing for Paris Baguette customers. However, there was a last-minute hitch that would throw the project into jeopardy.
The day I was due to fly to Korea in late October, I was advised by the Korean electrical company that they couldn't get any more Lightorama circuit boards. These boards are the vital link between the software and the lights, and for a while it looked like we'd have to limit our show to just 128 channels, and that really wasn't going to be enough. So with just a few hours before my flight, I was busily unwiring 10 of my circuit boards at my Perth home, packing them in my suitcase, and they were coming with me to Seoul.
Upon arrival in Seoul, Kym first met with the electrical company to test his Lightorama cards would work in Korea, and to everyone's relief, they worked. Next, he met with the agency to discuss scaling back the show from 350 to around 260 channels.
That was all fine. However, I was told that I'd need to produce a new 2-minute, then 3 15s and 3 30-second sequences, meaning that much of what I did in Australia was redundant. I then spent 28 of the next 38 hours producing the new 2-minute sequence before once again meeting with the agency. But one of the delights for me at that meeting was watching the smile on Joanne's face as she watched the sequence. It was then I knew I'd come up with a winner.
A visit to the site in Yangpyeong, 90 minutes from Seoul, provided the production team with an opportunity to discuss the finer details, like placement of the set on the field,
그리고 영경아, 네가 이쪽으로 가고.
camera positions and angles, extra lighting required, progress on the production of the different lighting elements, and so on.
Have a look at this. It's 9 o'clock on the 7th of November and we've just driven from Seoul Airport. And this is my first look at something that's pretty impressive. My wife Tonya, a mutual friend Rebecca Durrant, joined me in Yangpyeong, and for 3 nights we sat at a table in front of this amazing set fine-tuning the lighting sequences. We'd arrive around 2 p.m. and we'd work until 2 or 3 in the morning with temperatures dropping to around 0. The agency team, well, they'd arrive each night to view the progress, but for most of the time it was just us 3 Australians, our 2 translators and electrical whiz Mr. Lee, alone in a Korean country field. It was a surreal feeling having the whole thing to ourselves. And the night before we filmed the commercials, Daniel nipped into town to a Paris Baguette store to grab dinner and a birthday cake for Rebecca. I don't expect we'll ever have anything like that again happen in our lives, but I'll certainly remember it for a long time.
The following day, Kym and his crew arrived around 3 p.m. to witness a hive of activity. The 60 or so people on site were busily tending to the last-minute details. A crane had been brought in to hoist 2 lights high above the set to replicate a moonlight effect. $15,000 of artificial snow was being pumped over the roof, ground and surrounding trees. The director of photography was fine-tuning camera positions, and all in readiness for Kym to plug in his laptop and set the lights into action.
As dusk fell, the director shouted action, and we played all of the lighting sequences so the production people could plan their shots. And when I thought we were heading for a trouble-free evening, Joanne noticed there was an error in the sequencing and it had to be fixed. We were acutely aware that the light was fading. We had an 8-minute window, I think, to get the best vision just before the sun went down, and I had 6 minutes to fix this particular sequence, and I did it. Disaster averted.
In between takes, the client had arranged for their own camera crew to film a behind-the-scenes video. With Kym speaking limited Korean, his answers were in English. They would later be subtitled in Korean, although he did manage to squeeze in a Korean phrase, much to the delight of the interviewer and client.
Paris Baguette, machisoya. As far as I know, no one has ever used a synchronised Christmas light show on a TV commercial. So to be asked to oversee the lighting on this project has been a rare thrill for me. And although tens of millions will see this on TV and on the internet, I was one of very few, just 60 or so, to see it live on the night. And I'll never forget that. If you're considering going to Korea, I would urge you to do it. The people I met were warm, they were welcoming, the country was amazing, and when you're there, make sure you visit Paris Baguette. You won't go hungry, I guarantee it.